Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Amerika TV with me, James. My name is James. Welcome to Amerika. Now, for those of you who are joining us through Zoom, welcome. There are a couple of features you can use to actively participate with us. Can leave your questions in the Q&A box section and use our chat box section to say hi to the panelists and our other participants. Now, at Amerika is the United States Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians like yourselves to learn more about the United States. In this episode, we'll be having Saturday Talk with Education USA at Amerika and Advisee Meetup. But before we begin, let's break the ice with a little game. I have here a question for all audience members. And that question is, true or false, Stanford representatives have won over 200 medals in the Olympics since 1912. Stay tuned until the end of this program because we'll be giving a live shout out to whoever can answer correctly on our social media. And also to let all our audience know, I have here a little information. As continuation of our 10th anniversary celebration and Black History Month in February, we are having an activity along with one giveaway this month. And that giveaway is an iPhone 12 Pro. So for those of you who are interested in joining, stay tuned until this program to find out how to join the giveaway. Other than that, don't forget to take a selfie and tag at Amerika's Instagram account. Now, without further ado, let me introduce everyone to today's moderator, Kak Vina Alatas, at Amerika's very own Education USA advisor. Kak Vina, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, James. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining in. Welcome to Amerika TV. My name is Vina. I'm one of the advisors for Education USA based in Amerika, although I'm currently at home. But I'm very excited to have this session this morning. This is somewhat kind of like our part of our monthly event, where we basically invite you guys on a Saturday morning with us, where we just basically going to discuss a lot of things that you want to know regarding studying in the US. So if this is your first time, welcome. If this is not your first time, thanks so much for joining in. And I would like to say hi to basically everyone who is watching this session from so many different platforms, because we are amazing here in Amerika, because not only here in Zoom, but we are right now, you can actually watch this session from Facebook, Twitter. We are live on YouTube, also live on Instagram. You can also watch the session from Amerika's website, which is atamerika.or.id. Or if you want to join the crowd, I am currently here in Zoom with a number of audiences. I'm looking at the participants here, and it seems that more people are going to come in. So I look forward to it. But wherever you guys are watching this from, feel free to stay there. If you have any questions or just want to say hi, leave some comments, please do that wherever you are watching it from. Leave it on the comment box or in the chat box. But if you want to join us, the crowd here in Zoom, feel free to do that, because what I love about our session here in EducationUSA at Amerika is that we are so you're not going to basically just listen to me and Santika talking, but then we encourage everyone to basically interact with us. And so feel free to say hi to us in chat. I'm looking, we are saying hello in here in Zoom. So yeah, feel free to join the crowd here if you want. We are in Zoom. But if this is your first time, like usual, I want to kind of like giving you a glimpse of who we are. If this is your first time hearing about Education USA and you want to know more about what we do, because I guarantee that you will find that what we do here with Education USA is actually really amazing. So let's see, what is Education USA? So we are part of the US Department of State Network, or here di Indonesia kita bilangnya Kementerian Luar Negerinya Amerika Serikat. So we have over 400 international student advising centers in more than 170 countries. Jadi kalian bisa lihat di sini kita banyak banget, hampir di semua negara. So, and what we do as advisors, as Education USA advisors, is that we assist everyone. Kita bantu semua yang mau lanjut kuliah di Amerika Serikat untuk tingkat S1, S2, atau S3. Dan the good news adalah all of our services are free of charge. I know it sounds too good to be true, but I guarantee you right now it is true. So our Education USA, the way I look at it, is kind of like a go-to place if you want to know everything about studying in the US. So of course in Indonesia, not only in Amerika as one of the centers, but we actually have 8 centers total with 10 advisors covering the whole country. So we have 2 in Jakarta, 1 at the US Embassy with David and Iqbal. We also have 1, of course, in Amerika with me. I'm Fina. And then I have my colleague Santika, which I will call her up in a minute. And then we also have 2 in Surabaya, 1 at the US Consulate General. You'll get assisted by Husky there, and then 1 at Universitas Erlangga with Amber. And then we also have 1 in Medan at the US Consulate also with Jeffrey, 1 in Malang at Universitas Muhammadiyah with Zaki, 1 in Makassar at Universitas Fajar with Chandani, and then last but not least, we have 1 in Banda Aceh at UIN Araniri with Lilis. Now, if there is no advising center exactly where you live, you don't have to worry. You can reach out to the nearest center because, like I said earlier, we cover the whole country. But now, since you are basically got exposed by us here in EducationUSA at Amerika, definitely feel free to reach out to us. So our service, basically what we're going to have today, because we usually have the events in the evening. It's kind of like rare to have an event in the morning. But so what we're basically going to cover this morning is, I would love to cover this whole 5 steps. So step 1 is, very basic, is research your options. So if you are thinking about studying in the US, you want to study in the US, but you don't know where to start, let's have a chat, doing like one-on-one advising session, either with me or with Santika, and then we talk about some of your options. Or if you have some basic questions about studying in the US, that's basically what happens in step 1, right? And then we move on to step 2, which is finance your studies, because that's equally important, right? We want to know our funding options as international students. Maybe you want to know more about full ride scholarship from either the US government, aka Fulbright, or the Indonesian government, our government here, which is LPDP. And then, there are a number of funding options available as well for us international students. And so I would love to talk about that also today, if you want to know more about it. And then once we pretty much figure that out, step 1, step 2, you know where to the university that you want to go to, the major, pretty much like how to fund the study. And then we can move on to step 3, which is completing your application. Things are getting more technical here, right? Because you will want to collect all the documents that the university require. And then again, we are assisting you here. So for example, I want to say that the most demanded service or request that we receive from people when it comes to EducationUSA at Amerika is essay review or statement of purpose. So because it's very crucial as part of your application process. And so we assist you on that. And I happen to love reading essays. And so and also another example is, if you want someone to take a look at your resume or CV, we can also do that, right? Or you have questions about standardized tests like GRE or GMAT, or maybe, the English standardized test, TOEFL, IELTS. Now we have Duolingo, PTE, some other options out there. If you have that kind of questions, we are here to guide you on that, right? And then once you pretty much have all the documents, you are ready to submit it, and then we can move on to step 4. After you submit it, basically you're going to wait, right? There's the waiting period until you hear back from the university if you get accepted, when you get accepted. And then basically the next step would be applying for your student visa, of course. And then we are still guiding you on that. So we're not stopping on step 3, but we're guiding you on the visa as well. So as you may know, maybe if you're familiar, you heard about, F1, J1, and you're not sure which one to choose. Or maybe you want to bring your spouse and children, and you don't know, the step to the kind of visa and everything. So we can give you the information on that. All right, we're not going to apply the visa for you. We still definitely want you to be the person who does that, but we're guiding you the step by step. Okay, and last but not least, step 5: prepare for your departure. This is like the event that I really look forward every year, because this is kind of like the one event where we invite everyone who have been with us, do a lot of advisings, and they already get accepted. We do the journey together and everything, and then you're about to depart, and then we invite you to give all the information that you need before you depart to the US. So for example, how to maintain a student visa, the first few things that international students need to do when they got to the US, or how to find housing, or maybe you want to know, the classroom experience, and so on. There are a lot of things that we can cover here. Usually, we have this event, big event of, we call it PDO, or pre-departure orientation, every year, sometimes like in around May, June, in Amerika. But then, of course, because all of our events here in Amerika are always open for public, even though you are not going to depart that year, you are definitely more than welcome to also join the, attend the session. We don't know if you're going to have one this year because of the pandemic, but hopefully, let's see if you're going to have it in Amerika. So meet with us, meet the advisors. My name is Fina, and then again, I'm going to call up my colleague Santika. So there are two advisors. We are two ladies in EducationUSA at Amerika, ready to basically assist you with your application process, right? And since the pandemic, we don't actually change our operating hours. So back in Amerika, we are basically available 7 days a week. We are available from 1 until 9 p.m. And, since the pandemic hits, we, all of us working from home. So we don't really see the reason why shouldn't we, do the same hours. So the good news is we are now one-on-one. We can do one-on-one advising now on via Zoom. Same hours every day, 7 days a week from 1 until 9 p.m. So I leave you the ID here, and Santika will help me copy paste the link in the chat here in Zoom. So you can basically save that link, and then the next time you want to come in, feel free to do that. All right. Or you can email us first if you don't feel like you just, jumping into Zoom and see one of us, because I always turn my camera on. So it's almost like pretty much like we are, in person, like in real life. And sometimes people kind of like, I don't know if, if I want to do that. And don't worry about it. You can email us first if you want. So you can email us to our email center, which is jakarta.atamerica@educationusa.org. Feel free to introduce yourself. Technically, you don't have to make an appointment because our advising system is pretty similar to when we were still in Amerika. That is, it's first come first serve basis, right? So as long as there is no one in the Zoom room, in the advising Zoom room, one of us, Santika or I, we can let you in. If there is a session going on, you will want to wait. You will have to wait in the waiting room, and then we normally, will send you a quick chat letting you know that, hey, I'm currently on the session. Feel free to wait. Okay, so that's that. I want to, let you know what is up in the month of February. So next week we don't have any event because I know that there is a holiday. So assuming that you guys are probably, going to be like somewhere else. So we're going to come back on February the 19th. I really look forward to this session, like really look forward, because Sahril Qasim, I really want to hear his story. So Sahril is Santika's advisee. So we are definitely going to hear everything about his journey. So what is interesting about him is he's from the eastern part of Indonesia. So he is under the LPDP BIT, if you're familiar with it, LPDP Beasiswa Indonesia Timur. So I always like very proud of them to, wanting to choose the US as their destination, because sometimes it's not always the case. And so I'm really proud just to hear that Sahril made it to NYU. And I just heard from Santika a few days ago that Sahril actually just made it to Manhattan. So I would love to hear more about, and I'm pretty sure you guys too, we want to hear more about, like his journey, his application journey, and then to the point where now he's in the US. We want to kind of like hear from him if he already get an apartment or like a house or something, and then how did he find it, and stuff like that. So kind of like sharing session. And if he already started the class, we also want to hear more about it, the classroom experience, and what is the current situation in New York. I think that would be really fun. It's going to be on Friday evening, so Sahril will connect with us early in the morning in New York. So it's going to be at 6:30 here in Jakarta time. So yeah, I look forward to having you guys to also join the session. And then the following Saturday is good. Let's join us in Saturday morning with us as well. EducationUSA with Zaskia. I also look forward to the session. So if Sahril is a current student, Zaskia is an alumni. So she graduated from University of Washington with an LLM degree. And what is interesting about her is that now she is a lawyer for a state of Washington. I mean, how amazing is that? I would love to hear her journey, getting an LLM degree from the US and then actually end up working in the US. So for those of you who also kind of like think about, yeah, I want to have, working experience 1 or 2 years in the US before coming back to Indonesia, you definitely want to hear Zaskia's story because I also want to hear about it. So join us on February the 20th, same time as today, 11 a.m. So hopefully you are a morning person and willing to join Saturday morning with us. So basically that's that. The two events that I just showed you, you can already register from our website, atamerica.or.id/educationusa, or you can also go to the Education USA official website, educationusa.state.gov. So that's it. We are currently preparing our events for the month of March. I think you're going to love what we're going to have. I'm going to give you a teaser that we're going to have a session on everything that you need to know about the standardized tests. So like GRE, GMAT, TOEFL, IELTS. So if you have any questions that you couldn't get it from anywhere else, let's discuss it together. So we're going to have that in March. And of course, we're going to have my favorite event every month, which is Statement of Purpose. Unfortunately, we're not going to have it this month, but we're going to resume to have that again in March. Okay, so I'm going to stop share this because today is fully discussion. I promise you, if you attend this session last Thursday when I covered resume and CV, I promise you that during this session, I'm not going to have any presentation except for the one that I just had. So we're just going to talk. So I would like to say hi to Santika first. Hi, Santika.
Hi, Vina. Thank you so
Good
much
morning.
for the introduction. Good morning. Hi,
You're
everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for sparing your precious Saturday with us and with the weather. That's a bit very
It's really gloomy. Yeah,
gloomy.
I live in
Yeah.
Bogor, and it's kind of like just cloudy all day long, basically yesterday. So it's not like we don't really have like that many people here in Zoom, but I believe there must be like some people watching the session from different platform. So yeah, we're just going to discuss, and we're going to take as many questions as you guys have. Because we have a lot of time. We are basically going to run this event until 12:30. So I look forward to it. So yeah, what should we talk about, Santika, this morning?
So I'm thinking about because you already explained the step 1 until 5, and if you
Right.
just come in and you are like very new to Education USA and Education USA at America as a whole, I recommend you to kind of like maybe rewatch it, step 1 until 5, and then if you have any questions on that, you can contact us or you can ask us right now, because I think if you're watching from like other platform, like I'm not sure about YouTube and other platforms, but if you can like rewind it, because it's live. Well, if you can do that. But if not, you can simply go to our official website and find out about the 5 steps. And if you have any questions, you can ask us now, because it feels like we are talking to both advisors, which is very rare.
It's
Because in
very
advising,
rare.
yeah, because
Yes.
I think this is the only chance like an advisee or prospective advisee can talk to both advisors during this pandemic, because
Yeah.
we divided our shift into one person for each shift. So I'm from 1 until 4 p.m. and actually until 5, but the last person that come in should be like 4 p.m. because then I
Hour
cannot finish.
before.
Yeah, before 5.
Yeah.
And Fina is between 5 until 9, so it's the same to last persons that can come in maybe like 8 p.m.
Yeah.
according to the schedule. We do
But-
like sometimes
yeah.
go overtime.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I think the beauty about like
Mhm.
how we're going via Zoom is that we can kind of like make the hours somewhat like flexible. Yes, my shift starts from like 5 until 9, but then for example, sometimes Santika, like let me know, hey, can I go over because I'm still currently on a session, and I said, of course, you do it. And then sometimes at like 5, still not like that, many people coming in. And then sometimes I would like start coming in at like 5:30 or maybe like after 6. But then yeah, I would go overtime. Sometimes there's an advisee coming in at like 8:30, and then the discussion was just like so nice. And then I rarely looking at the time because, well, I'm at home, right? I don't have to catch like a train to back home or something. So then when we were done, we were like looking at the time, and I'm like, oh whoa, 9:30. And sometimes I was like, I did it like once when I did a session with someone until 10:30. Can you believe it? And I'm like, whoa. But that was fun karena kalau di Amerika kan kayak aku harus pay attention because the mall is closed. I have to also like let everyone go go back home. So yeah, it's really nice. Really nice.
And yeah, and the beauty is that we don't really have a lot. We don't really need to spend a lot of time preparing before we start the work and before we wrap up the day after work. Right? So like you said, you don't have to catch the train and everything because usually if we want to do that, we have to pack up before the closing time, right? So yeah, and then before we start, we also need to prepare before the opening time. So that's why I think this is more flexible for us, and it has been almost a year by now, and we are kind of like getting used to this,
Yeah.
But in a way, just like Vina said, I also had this one advice before. I think just few days ago, we were talking about the CV. We were actually reviewing the CV, and the CV is actually, it's just two or three pages. It's very simple, right, Vina? But we actually talk about one item for like 30 or 40 minutes because we talk about how the farming systems work in Papua. So I was like, and I was texting you to tell that this is such an interesting discussion, and it actually passed my shift time, but it feels so rewarding, and I learned a lot of things. And we learn a lot of new things from our advisees almost on a daily basis. So that's why I think every time you held the same event, like the essay and CV, you will say something different at some point, even though it's the same PPT. So that's very nice. I think that's just a good dynamic. So in a way that we have a lot of advisees who come in repetitively, right, to the same event.
Yeah.
So yeah,
especially on the essay event, and I never expected for people to actually keep coming back. But then we started hearing from people, ya San, kayak they said, I mean, I have my advisees kayak bilang, yeah, aku udah kayak attend like 3 times, and I was like, really? And then I really asked them, kayak, why did you like attend like 3 times? And then they just simply said because, yeah, like they said, I presented differently, and I actually didn't plan that. I don't plan to actually, do the
to be
presentation
that
differently.
repetitive.
But then I like what you said earlier, Santika, the part when you said you learn a lot, and exactly that's like like that's really on point. I always learn from my advisee when it comes to like essay writing. Kayak kadang ada advisee yang they wrote it like something different that I've never read before, and I was like, this is actually really interesting. And then so I shared it during the events and stuff so that everyone else can also get exposed to that, right? So yeah, it's really interesting.
Right. Just to make it clear for all of you who are new, I don't want you to misunderstand what Vina said by sharing, because we don't share the file at all, not even a peek of the first sentence. So what we share is kind of like what we learned from that essay, not the essay that we share, because we are very confidential in a way. Even Vina and I have different advices and shared. So my advisees share the essay to me, and most of the time they don't share it to Vina as well, because the advisee met me and meet me for the next revision and whatever. But it's the same with Vina, unless like I kind of like refer the advisee to Vina, and then Vina also refer her advisee to me. That's when we can have kind of like advisee A's document for the same, for both advisors in Amerika. But other than that, we don't kind of like share that things, even though we can, right?
Yeah.
So
and this is something confidential. Yeah, and this is something that I always discuss it discuss it with, during the essay session, because I was like, I had like this slide. I have this slide where, that pretty much like say, can you guys see the essay sample? And then, yeah, I would definitely, explain that I do actually, save our advisee's essay, and sometimes the advisees would actually give an okay to share it with other people. But it's just that we found that when we do that, it's kind of like it kind of like give you guys pressure to want to write something like that person's essay, and we don't want that. So we believe that, because we've been doing the essay session every month for quite a while now. I'm actually wondered, since when did I do that? Probably like about 2 years now, or maybe less. I don't know. But I keep telling people that just watch the session and then see me or see you, Santika, right? And then let's start from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree with that. But on another hand, when I kind of like, think of something really interesting when you said we learn, something new when we read the essay, is because a lot of our advisee can have the same, study interest, subject interest or programs. It's the same program, it's the same university that they want to apply to, but the way they write their essay is going to be different. I even had this advisees, different advisees. They don't know each other. They're not friends. They're not even in the same. They are not from the same, alma mater. And they write about Industry 4.0, and then both of them come to me in the relatively same time. So I kind of like remember. I think I read something about Industry 4.0 before this, like 2 days ago or something. And then it's a completely different phrase and sentence, even though they're talking about the same thing, which is Industry 4.0. And that's why when you have your presentation on your essay, you said you need to write something, something really original that only you can write. And then people will start asking questions like, but my topic is very like general, because it's a hot topic right now, like the Industry 4.0, or yang kayak kemarin apa omnibus law or whatever, that's really hot right now. And then so people, maybe applicants this year will most likely talk about that, if the applicants are from Indonesia, because that's the issue right now. And they're worried about if they write the same thing or topic, it will kind of like decrease their chance to be accepted. And we are like, here, no. It's not going to be like that if you write your own essay, because it's going to be different, even though they're talking about the same thing. And we have proven that with the Industry 4.0 topic. And I'm seeing some questions coming in from the chat box. Yay!
So we got Henry. We have Henry Manulang here, basically asking, do you provide advising on financial strategy to pay tuition? For example, UCLA tuition is $65,000 US. So the answer is, well, so Henry, kaya kamu mau, is it like for undergrad or graduate? I'm guessing probably for undergrad, because UCLA is in that range of, master. Okay, cool. So sometimes actually covered this. Aku semalam ada sesi sama an advisee. Actually Santika's advisee, tapi datang malam karena nggak bisa di siang hari. Jadi kayak aku cover. But he basically wants to study MBA. And then no, I think no. He said he wants to study master in management because he doesn't really have that long, many years for working experience. But we cover like like funding options. So at the moment, he wants to kind of pursue for Fulbright. So the way we do advising is we lay out all the options, right? Kaya, is Fulbright for you? Sometimes people are saying, no, I want to try Fulbright, but I think, maybe not, or maybe there are some people yang, boleh deh, gitu. Misalnya kayak, we have the session probably like in October or November, because remember that Fulbright deadline is February the 15th, right? Every year. So if you have the time, so clearly if someone coming in March, and then I wouldn't be like, bother mentioning Fulbright unless you want to kind of like start the study like in 2 years. But other than that, kayak I usually like, okay, so we have the options, which is Fulbright, and then we kind of like cover about Fulbright. Do you kayak I usually ask the advisee, do you understand the skemanya Fulbright nggak gitu, kayak do you know how it works, for example. So for example, with Fulbright they have like a funding cap, and the fact that to get in, to get accepted, to get awarded is actually really, 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 really competitive, because Fulbright is a very prestigious scholarship program from the U.S. government. So it's really hard, and I don't think like in every year. Aku cuma nebak aja sih, but we usually looking at about only like less than 100 people get accepted to Fulbright for both masters and PhD. And can you imagine? Like it's really like low number, because we're talking about like for the whole country of Indonesia, they only pick about like less than 100. So, but then I still usually urge everyone to apply for Fulbright. But then you also need to understand that technically, when you get selected, the Fulbright committee will basically, choose the university for you. So maybe if you all already know that you want to study at UCLA, well, technically you can kind of like do what they call direct application, but then there's no guarantee that, um, you know, in terms of like the funding situation, it's not a guarantee that UCLA can cover the rest. So that's that, because remember, like with Fulbright, they can only give you like certain amount of funding, right? So that's that. And then once we kind of like, okay, maybe Fulbright is an option, then we can move on to the next one, which I usually tell people that the most, I would say like for now, the most generous Fulbright scholarship from government is from our government, which is LPP. And I would like to actually
Yeah.
I would like to stay in this topic a little bit more, because I am so loving the LPDP PTUD. Period. We are loving the LPDP PTUD. So PTUD, if you don't know about it, it's the apa LPDP, PTUD, LPDP peringkat tingkat utama dunia. I'm loving it, and what I'm about to say is very biased, but I don't care. I'm with Education USA. What I love about PTUD is that they have what, correct me if I'm wrong, but they have like what, like 15 total of universities, and 12 of them is actually US. And yes, if you're looking at the list, is some hardcore universities. I think you see Berkeley is in there. I don't think UCLA is in there. But then the rest is, basically the highly selective universities. Ivy Leagues are there. MIT, Stanford, University of Chicago is actually there. I think there's more. Pokoknya ada kayak 12 sekolah. And what I love about it is a lot of our advisees ya San, kayak following rute ini, dimana with PTUD you have to have the LOA first. That's the different about the other LPDP category. So you need to have the LOA first, and then you apply for the LPDP PTUD. And the way I look at it, all of my advisees from last year, they got the LOA, and we are all very happy knowing that the LPDP PTUD kemarin buka di bulan November, Desember. And all of my advisees, because they already have the LOA, they just, apply the LPDP PTUD, got the interview, and they got accepted. So I'm loving this LPDP PTUD. But then you can also do the LPDP regular. But then they also have, some kind of other categories. If you are PNS, mereka ada LPDP PNS. So yeah, look it up. I want to say that kenapa aku kayak mention LPDP, because I want to say that especially if you're looking for, sekolah yang kalian pengen itu ada di listnya mereka, because it's very important. It's not like you can just like apply to like some random universities. They already have like the fixed list. And I love it, because the way I look at it here, a lot of our advisees are aiming for those type of highly selective universities anyway. So it's kind of like aligned with LPDP. So that's that. Yeah. So the other option would be, depending on your program, if you are, so siapa tadi yang nanya, Henry, kalau program kamu kayak quite heavy in science, like STEM, science, technology, engineering, or math, you definitely want to check out directly to the university's website, because kalau STEM itu they have more funding available compared to other programs like MBA or public policy. Aku malah nggak pernah denger sih kayak scholarship from like public policies programs or MBA. So it's always like you have to pay on your own, or like through scholarship outside. But nanti di bulan Maret aku akan ada sesi sama salah satu advisee aku yang successfully not paying a penny for the tuition at University of Texas Austin, because she got all the tuition waived 100% because she is working as a teaching assistantship, or GRA, graduate research assistantship. I found this program really interesting. She's doing some kind of like an energy type of program, which is again is very science heavy. So, and we see actually more and more people yang dapat this kind of tuition waiver through this program. Or maybe you want to watch our last session with Tita Risanto, an alumni of Stanford, who also like my advice that I'm going to have like in March. He also received tuition waive from Stanford University 100% while working as a research assistantship. So let me stop there, Henry. If you have any question, let me know. But yeah, and I'm looking at here, Santika has been interact with some of you guys, and I love it. This is what I love about the session. Walaupun kita nggak punya banyak crowd, but I just love like a small group like this, because it seems like you guys are serious about studying.
Yeah, and speaking of that, it's just like the conversion is just worth it, yeah, Fina. Like let's say we don't have a lot of people who attend our event for this specific event, but we will get like new advisees who come to us via email, and then or join us in Zoom, and then we start having new people, and then we're so happy about that. So it's all worth it. And we have more questions about scholarship. Here we have Muhammad Rizki. He's asking about, he is very specific. He's in the process of applying to one university in the United States, University of Oregon. And there is a scholarship on that university. And he's wondering if he can get more guidance on how to apply that and everything. That we can do. So I suggested Muhammad Rizki to come to my advising session. And what we can do about scholarship is kind of like guiding you. Like if you have questions about, okay, is this legit? Is this how I apply it? It's a separate application from my university application for like the master program. And if you're in bachelor, it's the bachelor program. So that we can guide you and to make it clearer. There are of course some things that's very, very technical, to a point where should I submit this kind of letter of recommendation? Can I replace this letter of recommendations for this scholarship application if it's necessary? Then that question should be directed to the admission officer or the financial aid office. Because I cannot answer that for you, because it's very case by case basis, just like how the application will work in United States universities. And so I can give you more information on that, but I will not be able to kind of like focus on your whole scholarship application as like reviewing all of the documents that you want to submit for the scholarship, and maybe if they ask for the essay and everything. But for university scholarship in very detail like this, we can do more because we know which universities you're applying to, and you of course you have to apply to the university as well. So you will have your essay and everything for the application as well. So by that will help us a lot. And it's just usually when you're applying to the university and you want to apply for the scholarship, you just maybe need to add like one short essay or anything like that. And if it's a very short essay, I can do my best to give time to that. If you have been coming to me or Fina for the university application essay itself, that we can do, because it's like kayak udah sekalian gitu loh. Kayak why not just like very short, like 250 words essay. We can do that for you. If we have met like 10 times usually for the university essay alone, like the statement of purpose or personal essays. So yeah, that's that. But for scholarship like Fulbright and LPDP, ya, Pina, it's quite tricky because Reynardus here asked if we can give a review for the Fulbright or LPDP. And I think
Yes.
I already answered in the chat box, but yeah, I think assuming
Let's
that
talk a little bit
more
about that.
people, yeah, more people will have more questions because Fulbright's deadline is really close, February 15, and we have been receiving so many emails. I didn't count how many.
Oh man, probably
for
like more than 10 kali ya, San?
more than, I would say more than 15, even
Okay.
maybe almost 20, that they all come to us with the same purpose of reviewing CV or reviewing the essay that they want to submit to Fulbright in the very close deadline. So imagine this February, we just got that influx of emails of that request. So 15 days before the deadline is, to us, it's quite insufficient because it's holding us back to see how much you can revise, how much you can improve based on our input. And Vina and I are quite like, we want you to be better. If you come to us for an input, we want you to be able to come back to us with a revision that's based on maybe our input or our discussion. And that is the whole point of the essay review anyway, right? So if you don't have enough time for that, or you are juggling a lot of work and other things in between, or you just discover Fulbright on January and then you saw the deadline February, okay, let's give it a shot. Well, you can, but technically you will have a lot of things on your plate, and when you come to us last minute, it makes us harder to kind of like help you. So what we do is usually we say, when you are applying for the university, we can help you more. And if you apply for Fulbright or LPDP and you are invited or selected for the interview, you can do mock interview with Finarmy.
Yeah. We can do mock interview for LPDP. Aku jarang sih dapat yang LPDP. You just need to give me some of the questions, which I don't know where you can get it, but I'm pretty sure it's like somewhere online. But then we can do mock interview for LPDP. I did mock interview for Fulbright, but for essay, LPDP is always a no. The reason is because although we love when you want to apply for LPDP, but we always say no for the essay just because we're not part of LPDP, and we don't know what LPDP is looking for in the essay. Well, pretty much similar with Fulbright. We don't know because EducationUSA is not part of Fulbright and vice versa. And we don't know what Fulbright is actually really looking for in the essay. In the past, I did actually review some of the Fulbright essays, but I always give the advisors a disclaimer. Where I told them in advance that, hey, look, I'm willing to give you some reviews on the study objective, but I am going to only review the study objective as if this is the same essay for U.S. universities, aka statement of purpose. Regardless if that is exactly what Fulbright is looking for, I don't know. Hopefully, yes. But then sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, like when I review it, I always review it as if it's like statement of purpose. And exactly like what Santika said, this year we don't know what happened. You know what? I think I know. I think it's kind of like someone mentioned about EducationUSA, and then someone basically saying
that they can help.
Yeah, like
it's not specific.
It's not specific. Basically, I don't know if this person actually mentioning EducationUSA at America or EducationUSA Indonesia. Hopefully, it's EducationUSA Indonesia because
exactly
there are only 2 advisors in America, and on top of people who want to apply for Fulbright, we actually prioritize people who want to apply directly to the U.S. university. And so this year we probably we have like more than 15, like what Santika said, 15 emails, people that we've never heard before, basically just emailing us, hey, please review my application, my study objective for Fulbright. And I was like, first of all, you've never done any, not even like on step 1, because that's like how we love doing an advising session. We really appreciate when people coming in and then you tell us the backstory of what you want to study in the US. I know that I keep mentioning that our services are free of charge, but we love it when you don't look at us just as a institution that review essay. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate if you don't come to us just to kind of, here's my essay, please review it, and then when we're done, okay, bye. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to kind of like have, like a more than one session. I would love to hear some updates from you. And so we discussed it internally, and we decide starting this year we are not reviewing any more of the Fulbright application, especially on the study objective. And sometimes people also like ask some technical questions about Fulbright,
exactly,
which we found
which
it
is
like
on the website.
it's on the website, and again, we're not part of Fulbright, and I believe if you contact them, they have the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. So I think we started from, because this is like my second year, and I think from last year we have been saying that we don't really know what Fulbright or LPDP is looking for, like what kind of profile or what kind of essay that you need to be writing in order for you to be more appealing to them, because obviously they have their own, panelists who review that, and we don't know them at all, and I think that's a confidential information, right? So there's no way for us to know what kind of people that they're looking for, but in general, scholarship will look for people who can contribute to the greater goods, right? And that's very general. Like when I read the essay, you can say I want to make the world better, but you need to be very specific.
Wow. Yeah. Specific. Yeah.
And with Fulbright, I think one of my advisee came to me. So she's a new advisee, and she was asking about Fulbright. She said she wants to apply for Fulbright, and I said, "Do you know?" And she didn't say Fulbright in the first place. She was saying, "I want to apply to University A in Amerika." And I was like, okay, how's your progress going, right? That's how we do things, right? Like, have you done your homework? Because that's what we check. How much you know, and then what can we add on top of what you already know to make you understand more about the system, so that you can go forward, like be more encouraged to make your own timeline and whatever. So after like 15 minutes talk, she mentioned, oh yeah, I want to apply for Fulbright. I'm like, wait, do you know that Fulbright is not like LPDP, where you choose the list of schools or program that they support, and then once you get the LPDP and the LOA from one of the university that you choose in the beginning, then that's it. You are guaranteed to go to the university that you have chosen in the first place, and that you got accepted, of course. And she was like, oh, but Fulbright asked for like my preference, like 3 or 4 university for my preference in the beginning. So I thought, if I got accepted, it's a guarantee that I will be going there. I said, well, sorry to say, but it's not that. That's not the system, and that's the thing, right? Fulbright or LPDP or any other scholarship organizations that provide scholarship can change their system without telling us, even though they can be somehow aligned in the goal with us. But yeah, they don't share those kind of details. So if we didn't happen to discuss that, if I didn't happen to discuss that with my advisee, I wouldn't even know that they have that preference in the first place. Like you can fill out like I want university A, B, C, and D, but in their essay, that's what I was saying to my advisee. But I thought they told you not to write any university name in the essay, right?
Yeah.
You asked for the preference, but wait, you told the applicants not to write the university name. Okay, and that's what I know, that they don't want you to write specific university name in the essay. That's what I told the advisee, and she was like, yeah, but they asked for my preference of preference list of my university. And that's when I was like, okay, so the decision not to kind of review the essay probably is the correct decision, because then you shouldn't mention the university, unlike the essay that we usually review, right, Fina, to the university application. It's very specific. I want to apply. I choose this program because this program in university that in US is because of this. It's very specific, and you can even mention the courses listed for the program, the professor, the club, whatever. Very specific to that university. But imagine if we kind of like get used to that, and then we kind of apply apply that to your Fulbright application without we consciously, maybe if the advisee didn't even mention that's for Fulbright and or use it for Fulbright, that can be not helpful at all, and that's actually backfire. So that's why we kind of like tread very carefully in this kind of thing, because Vina and I are very specific in our reviews, yeah, Vina, both in essay and then CV and resume as well. So we don't want to kayak mislead people kayak, oh, you can use this for university application and then Fulbright and then LPDP and whatever. Karena jatuhnya beda. Okay, the content is different.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I hope that helps.
Yeah.
Ini lagi bahas apa, Teresia? Environmental studies. Wow.
Yeah. So I wanna. So we have a question on Instagram, which is a good one. It's about resume, which I covered last Thursday. Hopefully the person is still watching. It's at Erzabangja. If the university states they need resume and no further explanation, and yes, sometimes the university say that, submit a resume. That's it. Which one is better to prepare? 1 page of resume or still stay on 2 or 3 pages of CV? I would say this is quite clear because they don't mention CV whatsoever. Because if they allow you to submit CV, normally the university will say it, submit a resume / CV or something like that, right? Or submit a resume or CV. In that case, then you can choose. If you already have a more than 1 page, then let's go with CV, right? But I think in this case, it's quite clear that the university asked for only resume, so I would not suggest you to actually submit a CV. But if you want to kind of like more, have like more assurance, I would, let you. I would recommend you to contact the university and ask, hey, I understand that, on the website it only mentioned resume, but we're just wondering, can I actually submit CV? So that's that. Hopefully that answers. And then I asked in the chat earlier if there is any of you guys watching the session, especially in Zoom, who is still in high school and want to continue bachelor's degree in the US, karena kita ada question dari Muhammad Rizky yang tadi nanya tentang University of Oregon. And then we also have Flavia Gabriela send me a private message, direct message in Zoom, basically wanting to know about is it better to go into community college first or directly to university? So if you guys are here for master's degree, this is not for you. I will pretty much like going to give, like explain this in about maybe like 3 to 5 minutes. So for undergraduate, so basically Santika and I, we use the community college pathway, right, Santika?
2+2.
2+2. And so it's so it depends, Gabriela. It depends whether or not community college is for you, because sometimes we found, I met some advisors, all the advisees, yang the way I look at it, looking at their profile and looking at the timeline and everything, they are actually better off by going directly to 4-year university. So it doesn't mean that I graduated from, using the 2+2 pathway. It doesn't mean that I, tell people that, just go to community college, because here in EducationUSA, we always like prioritize your need. So it depends, like we need to kind of like talk more. But for example, the situation is you actually already passed the deadlines for the university, because when we're talking about like the deadline for 4-year university and community college is so different. So the deadline for 4-year university is basically similar to the master's degree applicants as well, whereas the deadline is usually 5 months to 1 year before the program starts. So normally when you're still in grade 11, you will want to start preparing your application if you want to go straight to 4-year university. But then sometimes people don't really know about this, and then by the time they know that they want to study in the US, they found out that, oh no, like I missed the deadlines. And so people use the options of community college, because the community college deadline is actually, when you're still in grade 12, you can actually work on your application for community college. And another thing about community college is you don't have to do SAT. So some people try to avoid SAT, and you don't also have to write an essay. And so people who want to kind of like, avoid writing an essay, they prefer to go to community college. And also for people who, this is kind of like for parents. So if the parents want to have like better funding options because it's more affordable to start in a community college compared to straight to universities, then you can see community college as an option. And then another thing is if you're not sure the major that you want to apply, it's easier for you to actually start at a community college. The reason is because once you're done from community college, you can practically apply a transfer to any kind of universities that you want in the US, right? So at least if you still don't know the major that you want right now, it gives you about like a year-ish when you start in a community college to like really decide what major that you want to do. And from there, you can try to find the right school for you that has, like a strong program in that respective program. And it's kind of like tricky if right now you don't know the major that you want to do. It's tricky to find the university. I mean, that's technically okay if you don't know what you want to do, and then let's say you already know that you want to end up at University of A, that's totally fine. But then if you're pretty much like clueless on what university you want to do, it's going to kind of like hard to pick the university, right? So that's that. And let's talk more about this if you want one-on-one. Hopefully that helps, Gabriela. Let me know if you have further questions.
So yeah, what's interesting about undergraduate applicants is, if you remember, Fina, he was my advisee, and then later on, I kind of like refer him to you because he have such a very interesting profile and essays. Fitra.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he kind of like updated me, I think last month, that he got interviewed by a few universities.
So happy
Which
to
is
hear
yeah,
that.
which is not every applicants got that chance, right? So
Yeah.
imagine that. I don't know how big the pool of applicants are, but imagining it's thousands, and you got chosen for the interview because the admission officers won't have all day to do interviews, right? And for what? For months doing that? No. So they will just choose, I don't know how many students that they will choose for interview, but surely it won't be, they have selected those students. And by him making it that far is a good sign. And it's not one university. I think it's 2 or 3 universities that he will do interview with. So I am very happy for that. I mean, he prioritized US because he already got accepted to other universities in other countries, which is closer than USA. And his parents is, like what you said, like have this concern of, oh, it's too far, US, and it's so far away. Just look for some university that's closer and whatnot, right? But he come to me in the first session saying, I want the States and I will convince them. And how am I going to convince them? You tell me, Santika. So I'm like, wow, so fired up, right? We are so fired up to do that because then he already know what he wants. And that's very, very appealing, not even to us, not only to us, but also to the US admission committee. This is for undergrad, but it also applies to master and PhD. If you know what you want, that's a very good thing. And if you can reflect that in your essay and everything else, that will be amazing. And so going back,
let's go back to master's degree now.
Let's
step
up again.
Step up again. We have a question from Teresia Bernadette. Hi, I want to ask. So there's a university that I'm interested to apply, and it requires a quote unquote faculty sponsor with graduate faculty status, unquote. I don't understand what does it mean. Do you mind explaining that? So I kind of like ask a little bit of more questions to Teresia because when I read this faculty sponsor with graduate,
sounds like PhD, yeah.
That sounds like very PhD. And then, but turns out, Teresia said, is actually for a master's degree. And then I asked again what program. And then she said is in the environmental studies at Florida State University. And I'm guessing if it's like research heavy. And then she said yes. So it's because although it so much sounds like a PhD program would ask, but I can totally see that a research heavy type of program, we'll also do ask this question. So I read about like this kind of things before, and the way I understand it, it means that you kind of like do like the PhD approach, where before you apply, you want to contact the faculty member, one of the faculty members in that respective university, aka the professors that you actually wish to work together with. So in this case, if you want to study environmental studies and you actually already know a number or two of the professors who teach that program, and you really, you have digged in about the kind of research that they do, and you actually have the interest in also being supervised by them in, pretty much like the same topic or the same field, you will definitely want to contact them. And then if the professor actually, give you, the feedback where he or she also wants to be your supervisor, and then that's like when you apply to the university. So this is like a very PhD approach. Even though, but then, again, even though other master's programs don't really ask this, I usually, Santika and I, we usually urge our advisees to contact the professors anyway, because then if you are able to make some kind of correspondence like via email with them, and they give you like, they reply to the email, and they give you like, good feedback and everything, wishing you good luck with the application and everything, we can actually put that in the essay. And this is kind of like one of the tips that I found a couple of years back, and I share it with you guys again, that it's actually really going to make your essay really strong, because the admissions committee will read your essay, and then the part when you actually say, yeah, I've been in touch with this professor, they are actually going to love it. It means that you're not just applying to their program just because, but you actually have done your research, and to the point like you go the extra mile by contacting one of the faculty members. So yeah. Hopefully that helps. Let me know again if you have some further question. And you're welcome, Flavia, Gabriela. She said, thank you. I'm planning to take data science. Oh, that's a really nice. Well, since you already have, the major, I think we can actually step up. If applying straight to four-year universities is also, like you have discussed it with your parents, and then basically they are giving you the okay to apply straight to US universities, let's discuss about essay. That's what usually our advisees yang high school ya, San?
Yes.
Karena basically essay itu kayak, again, like I said earlier, during my introduction, that's like the most demanded service that people use that people request when it comes to education USA. Dan likewise, jadi kayak untuk anak-anak high school, biasanya yang memang mau lanjut straight to university, they come to us to basically discuss their essay. I believe, helped some students in the past with their data science program.
Yeah.
Tapi memang kalau essaynya high school, it's quite different. It's more like a personal story. So it can be tough for some people. But again, that's what we are here for. We're going to guide you on that to make your essay as personal as possible.
Ya, ini tadi pertanyaannya siapa? Is it still Flavia?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Flavia, I think for now I can give you like a bit of homework is to try to find out about apa namanya common app. You can try to make the account. I think it's free. If you just make the account, it's free. If you want to submit application, I think you have to pay. But my point here is if you make the account and then you go in there and then you add on the university that you want to apply to, you can see like kind of like the deadline. Usually they have the deadline. They have the things that you need to submit there, and you can try to familiarize yourself with what they're asking for, so you don't have to panic when the deadline is approaching. That's how you start early. You start with the platform that you are going to use for the application itself, whether that's directly to the university application portal, or for undergrad. It's very, very common and helpful to use Common App instead of like applying for 5 university to each of the university application portal. I hope that helps. I can put that in the chat box if you need the spelling, but you can very easily find that from Google. And another thing that I want to also mention is come to us early, even though we know in high school it's very challenging. Especially I heard that these days, if you are doing your classes online, it's not actually easier, it's actually tougher, because then you have more homework. And not only homework, on top of that you usually have like discussions, and the class is probably still a long hours, and on top of that you have to do other things after the classes. So yeah, I know it's challenging, but try your best to start early, because this is especially important for high schoolers, because we cannot help you if you come to us like 1 week or 2 weeks before. Even 1 month is we consider it already very very apa ya, kayak terlalu hack gitu. So yeah, we are very happy that Flavia here come to us really early. I'm assuming that you are still applying for maybe like 20 berapa 2023, right? Or 2022, which still makes a lot of sense, because we still, at least kalau 2022, we probably still can get 1 year. So yeah. Oh, 2023. That's nice. That's what we love, right, Vina?
Yes.
Yeah. So I already answer some questions also in the chat box. And then, so this is from Imelda. I think I also received her email just now, because I have this pop in from my phone. Hi Santika and Vina, can't wait to see you soon on Zoom for the first time discussion. I already emailed Santika for my proposed time. Okay. So I will reply you by email, Imelda, just because we are currently holding the event here, and we want to discuss things that's for everyone.
Yes. And then
right?
I said, I replied to Imelda. I said, let's see if Santika is on today. Sometimes when we have an event on the same day, we take it a bit slow
Exactly.
when it comes to advising. So that we have like a sane mind, so that we're not like overwhelmed. But don't worry. I mean, if Santika is off today, or I will be off today, you can see me tomorrow and some other days. We are always here. But sometimes sometimes we need like our sometime off as well. But yeah, cool. Flavia said 2023, which is you are definitely, Flavia, I'm telling you right now, you are definitely on the right track, which is amazing. And this is also something that we have seen from other people who start contacting us, because I usually ask them, because sometimes beberapa dari mereka udah mulai masuk one-on-one advising session, then usually my first questions would be, ini buat kapan gitu kan, masih mau yang ngejar buat 2021, karena ada beberapa sekolah yang masih buka kan, deadline-nya masih bulan Maret, April gitu, walaupun udah kayak sebentar lagi. But I'm loving it, hearing that all of them pretty much saying it's for 2022. And so we have like plenty of times. We can definitely start from now, but it's even better that you actually want to study for like 2023. This is definitely very early for you, so you don't have to worry too much. But it's really good knowing that you already know that you want to study data science and that you want to continue that in the US. So take your time, feel free to keep attending our session when you find fit, in terms of like the topic and everything. And then, we are here whenever you want to, have a session with us. Feel free to.
So yeah, I totally encourage that. And I want to talk a bit about doing timeline, because when we talk about undergraduate applicants, it reminds me of one of my applicants yang mau apply ke S1 juga, but never in my 2 years time, and maybe not in your 6th year at EducationUSA at Amerika ya, Vina, that this advisee make a very very specific timeline. And I think it is something that everyone can learn, despite of mau apply ke master kayak atau PhD kayak. It's so detailed. It's confidential, that's why I cannot share like the file. If not, I will just like make presentation about it, because it's so detailed. literally like a presentation that you will present to people to pitch something, like, look, this is how we are going to achieve the target. We have 1 year, January until December, let's say, right? And January, there's the bullet point, January in each month, January, February, March, and whatever until December. And then in each of the bullet point, they have the specific goal, like January, SAT. So if this is for master, you can imagine that January, study GRE, and then February, you can study what IELTS or TOEFL or TOEFL IBT or anything that you want to get done in that month. So it's very, very specific. And if you have the effort to make that timeline that nicely, imagine the effort you put to achieve that goal. Kayak kan nggak mungkin kan kita bikin sesuatu yang udah bagus banget timelinenya, and then you just make that just because, right? No, you make that because you want to follow that. That's why you make it really, really, really good. So that's one of the things that we can learn despite of kamu mau apply S1, S2 atau S3. Please make your timeline. I know it's going to be hard because untuk master, especially untuk master sama PhD, karena you guys are like juggling a lot of things. Most of you are also working, and if not, you guys already have family. But do your best to specify your timeline. Jadi dari sekarang udah dicek, misalnya walaupun kamu apply-nya masih buat fall 2023 ya, let's say, you can see what's the deadline for fall 2022 this year. So you can kind of like refer that for when you want to apply next year for the 2023. So then you can kind of like trace back how many months or weeks you have until your deadline, the deadline that you are your application deadline, ya, bukan enrollment. That's going to be different. So yeah, you can do that, and that's how I always answer my advisee with the timeline question, Vina. So yeah, I hope it's quite the same with yours, and if you have things to add, please do. But it just reminds me of that.
It's you just you say it like really, really, really well. So yeah, it's good. So
Alright, we have Imelda here. Okay, Imelda udah aku balas juga di chat. So
Imelda will do a one-on-one session with Santika today. I think I will be in Zoom also tonight. So yeah,
I think it's Monday. Yeah.
Oh, it's Monday. All
yeah,
right.
It's Monday.
Good.
I'm not sure if I will be in the Zoom later because there are like reports and everything.
Yes.
We actually, the funny thing about Fina and I is that we do reports on weekends instead of, if we are saying weekly reports, most people are like Friday, right? Not Sunday.
Yeah.
But we do that because we are open every day, right, Fina?
Yeah.
Even in at Amerika, even online, we are open every day. So kayak bingung aja cut off-nya mau kapan.
Exactly.
So we decided end of the week, yeah.
Yes.
And that's very unique, and I like that.
Yeah.
So if you guys have more questions on anything else, this is your last chance because we are only having at least 15 minutes left. And Tina, if you have anything to say.
Yeah. No, I actually love the part when you said, like in the beginning of the event, where you said this is actually like a really rare chance to be able to, because like even like when Santika and I are like discussing things, this is pretty much like maybe the only time when we able to discuss like this long. Sometimes we would just like talk via WhatsApp, like, hey, how's it going, and then we kind of like change stories. Yeah, I just had like this one advisor, amazing, want to study this and that. But I'm loving this session actually, to the point where I think we probably want to have it again next month. We'll have to see. But if you guys found this session like quite helpful, please share with us because we would love to know some of your feedbacks. But I'm loving looking at some of the questions that pop up today. Like really look forward to having like a session with you guys. Either you're going to end up seeing Santika or me. But then there's also, aku biasa selalu bilang kayak pick one advisor. So I just Santika or me. But I think Santika covered it, shared it last Thursday, basically saying Well, sometimes we also like exchange our advisee, right, Santika?
Exactly.
Especially for
Karena waktunya
yeah,
aja sih.
yeah, and then but like mostly like when it comes to like essay, for example, because I happen to like really love essay, and so sometimes I tell Santika that if you're kind of like overwhelmed, feel free to like make your advisors to come see me. But then at the same time, so when it comes to like resume or CV,
Ketukeran.
yeah, we love to talk about this, right? Like I know that I always give a presentation every single month on resume and CV. In fact, we just had it like last Thursday. But then to be completely honest with you, I'm not like a really big fan on like reviewing it. For me, like I still going to review your CV and resume, but for me personally, I only take a look at the overall look of your resume or CV, and that's it. I don't really like pay attention on the content. But then I'm really glad to have Santika on board with us in Education USA because Santika happens to like very like such a very detailed person, more than I do when it comes to resume and CV, where Santika is able to kind of like, pay attention to the content and everything. So sometimes when I'm pretty much like done with an essay review, sometimes my advisee also want me to take a look at the resume, and then that's when I kind of like, well, you know what? Let's refer you to Santika because yeah, I just
Yeah, and thank you so much for doing that. I have fun in that because I think we enjoy different things and that works out really well. You will never get bored of essay, but for me, some of the days I feel like just want to have some changes. Like maybe today I'll do CV reviews, so that's how I schedule it. And what's funny is we have the same advisee, but she saw you for essay and then saw me for CV, and that's totally fine, right? So, but then for one specific document, if you can, just stick with one. So, especially for essay, because it's like it's very apa ya, particular in a sense. When Fina or I give you an input on your essay, you will kind of like bakal stuck with you, right? And that's how you gonna make the revision. So if you met Fina and then you haven't made your revision and then or you have made your revision and then you come and meet me, the input can be different. I won't know what Fina have given you before and vice versa.
Yeah.
So that's just to avoid the confusion. But if it's a different document, like you went to Fina for the essay and then the CV, you want to have it reviewed by me, that's totally fine. And we actually prefer it that way. So yeah.
So I asked Imelda in chat, if it's like if she wants to study master's degree and what program and what university, and then Imelda basically share. Imelda tertarik di education, psychology, public policy, and gender study. When I read it the first time, I thought that's like the whole name of the program, and I'm like, wait, like how is it possible? But apparently, well, she said still need discussion before make a decision. But regardless, all of these programs are really amazing, and these are the type of like, for example, like education and public policy are the two programs that's quite popular here in Asia. Yeah. And it's kind of like align one another. Definitely you will want to discuss it with Santika or apa in terms of like what is it that you want to do, karena aku ada juga beberapa advisee-ku yang sebenarnya backgroundnya education, tapi ketika kita discuss the ending goal of what you want to do itu lebih kayak ke public policy. Jadi sebenarnya kayak lebih pas di public policy. Although ada juga mungkin beberapa program education di US yang programnya education tapi juga meranah ke public policy. So what I'm about to say about all this adalah you will definitely want to do like a lot of research on the university. Unfortunately, we won't be probably able to do that because that's going to be your piece karena you are the only one yang emang benar-benar kayak literally tahu banget mau ngapain ending goalnya gitu. But I love the fact that you also put psychology and gender study. Would love to actually hear about like what is it, the ending goal of yours? Is it like a mixture of everything? I'm guessing it is education, psychology,
very
and
interesting,
public policy and then gender study. So let's discuss it with Santika.
So just a glimpse of because I think it's important. So this is what Fina just did for Imelda is the things that we do in advising one-on-one.
Oh yeah.
So when you come to us with this, we will like if we cannot have the bias. So for Education USA, it's nonprofit, and so we don't want to be biased, and it is our kind of rule to be not biased. So when you come to us with kind of like university A until Z. We will not like, oh, just go for university B just
That
because
way,
maybe
yeah.
I know the university
Mhm.
representative or something. No,
Mhm.
we won't do that.
Mhm.
And if you come to us with this 4 choice of subject of your interest, we will just say, oh, just take education just because maybe I'm more familiar with that.
Yeah.
No, we are not going to do that.
Mhm.
But in fact, we can tell you, you don't really have to choose between all of this. You don't have to choose just one. Because like what Vina said, kayak tadi kalau misalnya di education, tapi bisa juga ke public policy. You want to change something in education, but it's about the policy. So what? It's public policy about education, right? That's both.
Yeah.
So what I usually suggest with this kind of question is you go very deeply to the program. Bisa kayak ada course listnya untuk each of that program di university itu. If you cannot find it, you can email them to us kayak programnya apa aja sih? Kayak coursesnya apa aja? What's the focus and what's the interest of the professor? Kayak mereka lagi doing apa sih? You can dig all of that from the university website usually. If it's too hard for you to navigate, Google it.
Absolutely. And don't forget about elective. Because Imelda kan di sini bilang kan, is there any double degree program around those programs? Well, technically when it comes to masters, I mean, I believe there is a double degree, tapi depend lagi ya Imelda, kalau kamu mau ngambil pakai LPDP, for example, I think they are quite clear that they are not allow you to do like a double degree. But here's the beauty part about like continuing your study in the US. You can actually do elective courses. So you still, for example, if you end up planning to take public policy, for example, or maybe like psychology, but then you need some kind of like courses about like education or gender study. If that university has like a good package of like all these programs, you can actually, when you are in that university, you can actually take some of the elective courses. And yes, the university will allow you to do that. Bahkan sebenarnya every major, not all.
Electives.
Yeah, the majority of like master's degree program. Ini juga untuk S1 yang lagi nonton juga ini juga applicable. Itu tuh biasanya nanti diwajibkan untuk ngambil elective course. And of course, this is like what I love about the US education. Karena I don't see it anywhere else. I don't see it in Europe. I don't see it in like literally anywhere else. Di negara lain tuh lebih kayak you just can only pick one and then you focus on that from the beginning until the end. Sedangkan kalau di US tuh benar-benar kayak, okay, you want to study public policy, fine. But then we urge you, we require you to also take some other classes, and then that other classes you can take it whatever you want. I know some people kayak ada satu alumni, well I call him like our mentor here, Niruban, you know. She graduated with a public policy in Harvard, and I asked him, right, like, what do you pick Harvard? And sometimes people kind of like, yeah, well, because it's Harvard. But then he said he picked Harvard Kennedy School. One of the main reasons is because their theology department is really strong, and he also wants to learn about some kind of religion studies. So then he said it's a win-win situation. He can focus on the main program, which is public policy, but then he can also learn about religion. And this is also what I love about our advisee ya San di orang yang datang ke EducationUSA at Amerika, because from the very beginning we always tell them to do research, like really dive into the website, the university website, and then really learn about the program to the point where, for example, baru ada kemarin ada Advisee dia mau ngambil specifically public policy in human rights, right? Terus kayak dia udah kayak kasih list of universities which are, I love all the lists, and then aku kayak urge dia untuk I think I really strongly recommend you to kind of like apply for other universities, and then kayak I start naming universities, right? Not like just naming one, but like I name it like some. Kayak, oh, how about Harvard? How about this? How about that? And then she said, oh, I'm not applying to Harvard. And I was like, oh, okay. Wow. That's like a really rare thing to hear, right? Oh, I'm not applying to Harvard. And sometimes people say, oh, I'm not applying to Harvard karena nggak pede. Tapi kalau dia bilangnya, aku nggak apply ke Harvard karena public policy-nya mereka nggak punya fokus di human rights. That's exactly
what we want to hear.
What we want to hear, exactly. And that's exactly what we want you to do as well, Imelda, because what is the point if you want to focus on human rights, but then just because you want to flash the degree from Harvard, but then technically when you're done, you're back to Indonesia, you don't actually learn anything about public policy and human rights. What's the whole point? And we don't want that, because we know that applying to US itu tuh udah super ribet banget with the GRE transcript, belum ditranslate, belum di-evaluate with West and everything. It's like so complicated. So I always tell my advisee, you have to be very like careful choosing the right university. So when it comes to studying in the US, just forget about like, oh, I want to graduate from universities yang ternama or whatever. Don't do it, because then it will defeat the whole thing on why you are applying in the first place. But rather find the program yang emang kayak this. I want to go here because they have public policy specific in education or public policy
Yes.
specifically in gender study. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Walaupun memang agak tricky ya kalau misalnya kamu kita
Apply LPDP.
exactly, karena kita opsinya agak lumayan terbatas. Tapi so far sih advisee kita at some point dari semua listnya LPDP yang ke US ada pasti banget ada gitu. At some point 1 atau 2 yang kayak emang really targeted banget programnya.
Yeah. And I'm saying here is it's not like kalau LPDP you don't have a choice. Actually the choices biasanya yang kayak at least udah lumayan bagus for what you want, tapi mungkin you can find yang lebih bagus lagi among those choices. So just choose the best among your constraint. Kalau kita di sini ngelihat constraint kamu adalah kayak LPDP cuman ngasihnya listnya ini, choose the best from your constraint, and you know that maybe kayak without LPDP it's impossible, ya udah berarti kamu harus make it do with that constraint gitu. And I really like what Vina said here is kayak dig very deep, dan that's when we know ya Vina kalau essay draftnya come to us di tulisan yang kayak why this program and why this university itu udah super detail, kayak aku mau course ini, profesor ini lagi kayak gini, research interestnya sama atau dia pernah research di Indo jadi aku mau belajar ini dari dia. And I just read one of my advisee's essay, dan ini kebetulan banget kita ngomongin electives. He mentioned I want to take this and that electives, and I'm like, you already know what electives you want to take?
Wow, oh, that's amazing.
Jadi kayak, yeah, itu kayak benar-benar you have this plan out gitu. And Vina mentioned this in her events before. I forgot which one because I attend all of them. What she said was, don't think about if the university will accept me. But when you're choosing which program and university to apply to, choose yang mana yang best for you. Bukan kayak, aduh, kalau misalnya mau apply ke yang highly selective kayak gini, nanti diterima nggak ya? Tapi dibalik lagi ke aku mau apa enggak ya masuk universitas ini gitu. So as if you are the one who is choosing, right? Tapi emang make sense, you are the one who choose to apply, not them.
Because because what usually happens, so basically we are wrapping up, but what usually my last piece would be like what usually happen here in Indonesia, or maybe pretty much like elsewhere, adalah kayak we try so hard, too hard to match ourselves to the university, because kita lebih kayak tend to, I need to be like, you know, I need to graduate from that university, so then you try so hard to match, but then I want you to start thinking the opposite. Like what I usually tell my advisor adalah you need to be the most selfish person when it comes to studying in the US, because it's not about you trying to match yourself, but you find the university that match you. Right? So because then again that will,
that's the term.
Try to match yourself, try to match the university, try to find the university that matches you. So you have to be very selfish and everything. So so that's that. Wow, nggak berasa banget 1,5 jam, but I'm really loving the session. Hopefully you guys who are watching this session here in Zoom or wherever you guys are watching this from, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, found this quite helpful. Santika, do you want to say something more?
I think this is really enjoyable, and I thank all of you for attending this. And like I said, Saturday is some rest day for a lot of people, especially with WFH and the current situation. Thank you so much for your time, and we really appreciate it. And if you really need our guidance, you know how to find us. If you're in Zoom, I will leave it in the chat box. And we are looking forward, and we are very excited to see you all in our next event, which is going to be in. We don't have events next week, but like the next week,
the following week.
So you can check that out as usual. How you do with this event, of course, to our website. And I think that's all from me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Santika. I'm loving this session because I think we just started like during the pandemic that having a session together like this. So I would love to. I really appreciate your time, everyone who is watching the session. I look forward. Basically, the whole reason we are having this session is to urge you guys to end up seeing us one on one, because I know it sounds too good to be true, knowing that Education USA is able to do this, and and we love doing this, and we're not like charging you like a penny. So it's like a definitely like a win-win situation for both of us because we want to see your success. But yeah, Santika and I, we look forward to having you in the next 2 weeks. Have a great weekend. And well, I'll be here. I'll be in Zoom tomorrow as well if you want to pop into Zoom. But yeah, I look forward to having you guys. Hopefully, this session is helpful. And thank you, Amerika team. Have a nice day to everyone. And I would like to give this back to James.
Thank you so much to our speakers, Kak Fina and Kak Santika, for today's session. Earlier in the event, we asked audience members a question. True or false, Stanford representatives have won over 200 medals in the Olympics since 1912? And the correct answer to that is true. In fact, they have won 270 overall medals, which is made of 139 golds, 73 silver, and 58 bronze. Congratulations goes to Sam Nugroho from Instagram for answering correctly. Thank you to everyone who has participated. Don't forget to tune in next time for another chance for a shout out from us. I'd also like to remind our audience members of our iPhone 12 Pro giveaway. To learn for more information, visit our link at bit.ly/bhmexpress on how to get this giveaway. Now, you may be wondering, how could I develop an awesome idea for a place like this? It's very easy. All you need to do is go to our website at www.atamerica.or.id, select create a program, and click collaborate with us. All event proposals coming to us will be reviewed and your event might be featured here soon. You can also subscribe to our newsletter for all our weekly updates. That wraps this episode. It's been fun, but we have to say goodbye for now. Follow our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at @ATAmerica for all our fun contents, event updates, and so much more. Thanks again, everyone, for joining. My name is James, and I'll see you at the next Amerika TV episode. Goodbye.